I was looking at some stats about marriage, and it says that in 2019, marriage rates for opposite sex couples fell to their lowest on record since 1862. That's in the UK. And in the US, marriage rates have been declining since the early 1970s. And I'm not married, but I spend a lot of time thinking about whether I should be or not. I actually had a conversation recently with my partner where I said, do you want to get married? And it was abundantly clear that she does want to get married. But then I asked why, and really, it seems like it was really just more for the wedding than for some kind of legal contract that we signed with the government. So I'm really wondering, based on everything we know about history and the trade-offs of marriage, should I be getting married?
Yes, because your partner wants to.
Is that reason enough?
But here, all right. So, I think the institution of marriage, what you're going to see, this is my prediction, is that because nuclear families.
What do you mean by nuclear family?
So having well, it's interesting. There's different perspectives now on nuclear family, but I look at it as you have two partners and children, and that creates the nuclear family. That becomes an economic unit, which drives a society. And as that has disappeared, there's been less of a base to drive society, per many researchers. So as a result, what I believe is going to happen, as we see right now in Singapore, as we see right now in China, as we see right now in Japan, you're going to see government heavily involved in incentivizing marriage. And marriage is already incentivized right now in terms of tax benefits, being able to leave assets to your partner, leave assets to family members. So as a result of the decrease of marriage and decrease of nuclear families, you will see government step up even more to incentivize. So you're going to see all types of benefits being thrown at people to get married. Especially as you not only see marriage rates decline, but as you also see birth rates declining as they are. Now, your question around what should you do is that this is a question around values. And this is a question that I believe is very important to have early on. I was saying, when you meet someone, you should lay out exactly what you want. This is a very important question to have early on. Now, in terms of where you are with your partner, I would say that if she is pro this, and you are indifferent, it feels like you're indifferent, not anti, but indifferent.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhat agnostic to it. However, I can call out a bunch of downsides to getting married.
Really? Like?
Well, again, I don't know because I'm not married, so all the married people are like screaming at me right now at home. I know this because they DM me. They've been DMing me for many, many years since I started the Diary of a CEO. Because in some of those early episodes, I was really I was really quite against it. But over time, I've kind of developed my thinking here. I just wonder, I can't understand the first principles as to why having a government or religious contract with somebody is going to increase the probability of success in the union of love. There's obviously the issue with the prenup situation.
Yes.
I actually don't have this concern with my partner. So I think she's, I think you've met her, haven't you? You've met her, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
From a distance.
Yes, from a distance.
Yeah, I don't have a concern that she's going to try and bankrupt me or that I might try and bankrupt her. Mm-hmm. So that's not really a concern. The whole charade of doing a massive wedding, I think, is a little bit weird. I think, why can't we just have lots of events over the next 50 years where we bring our friends and family versus one? I've also watched a couple of my friends at the moment who are getting married. The 2 years of pain and heartache and cancelling date nights so that they can afford this one wedding day feels highly illogical to me. I've got one particular friend who is having to cancel so much of their everyday joy to save up for this one big event, which is stressing them both out. And I don't think they're going to have, I don't think he's going to have a great time at the wedding anyway, because he seems so stressed by it all. I sometimes hear that people can't get out of their marriage without having to file a divorce thing with through lawyers and going to court and battling it out in court. And I just think, you should be free to leave if you want to leave. I don't know. I just think this is a terrible analogy and completely unrelated, but like in football, many of the problems we see with my favorite club, Manchester United at the moment, is we've got people on 5-year contracts who we just can't get rid of. And like they want to go, we want them to go. But because we sign these long contracts with them, it's like incredibly difficult. And now these players are being like thrown in the back room and they're not playing football and we're like just completely ignoring them because we can't get out the contract.
Yes.
So I don't know, I just think...
Yeah, I hear you. All right, can we talk about this?
Yes.
All right. There are many secular marriages, so you don't have to do anything religious related. And it sounds like a big difficulty that you have, could be the number one, is the wedding. But the wedding, to me, the premise of it is a public declaration of your love. And to your point, it could be as small as you want, it could be as big as you want, you could have as many as you want, right? That public declaration could happen 50 times over 50 years. It is up to you. So that is you and your partner navigating that space. With regard to getting out of it, this is the single biggest change that we need in marriages. Marriages, in my opinion, should be much harder to get into. You shouldn't be able, like literally, you and your partner could go to Vegas, drive up, so a drive-through, you could have an Elvis Presley impersonator marry you, you pay $25 and you're married. It's ridiculous. I think that there needs to be hurdles in place. There needs to be some type of vetting, some type of premarital coaching, counseling, so everyone is aware of the commitment that is about to be made. And you have the tools, you have skills around conflict management, et cetera. It needs to be hard. But then, if you want out, you should be able to get out in an hour. It should be easy.
Drive up, Elvis Presley says, it's over, $25.
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, free, right? That's the way it should be. But it is the reverse. Now, you're right. Marriage is hard to get out of. That's changing. There's now the introduction, especially in the UK, of the no fault, right? But that still could take 6 months or so. There still is a lot of haggle. So I agree with you there, is that it should be much easier to get out. But ultimately, what marriage is a declaration of commitment done in a formal way.
Can you not do that without the marriage? Like, can you not do a declaration of commitment without having to go to like a church or whatever else and sign documents and stuff? I don't know. Is it not possible?
It is.
You know,
it is. So
I think I just have commitment issues. I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's at the core of it.
Because you know what's so interesting to me is that you're already going to, well, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
Right? And it almost feels as if there's a fear of committing to someone for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because that's a massive, I mean, think about this. You're going to commit to someone for the rest of your life, for the rest of your days. And what we feel, because I've been there, because I'm
getting anxiety as you say it. I'm like, fucking hell, the rest of my life.
The rest of your life. But think about this. The anxiety is the fear of what has not even come yet. So that means that you can now interrogate your thoughts. Okay, you have fear over what? What's the fear?
But isn't it just a terrible idea to commit to someone till death do you part? Because, like, imagine if I said to you, you got to pick a job and then you got to do it forever.
Yes.
The amount of procrastination that would occur because of the significance of that decision would basically stop you picking any job at all, because you'd be like, okay, no, I've got to pick one and do it forever. And, you know, you'd become a perfectionist. You'd be looking for perfection in every single job. And maybe this is in part the issue, is that because we see marriage as being such a final thing, that we really have to make sure the pick is perfect.
It's perfect. I agree. This is one of the myths, right? This whole notion of till death do us part, which really was handed to us in religion. If you look through Christianity, Hinduism, even a lot of the modern day Islamic marriage ceremonies, there's some formation of you will be with this partner for the rest of your life. And I think what that does is it actually sets us up for a lower level of satisfaction. It sets us up for complacency. Oh, this is all we get? Right. Instead,
They can't leave me.
they can't leave me, so therefore I don't have to try as hard. I don't even have to talk to them now.
Yeah, I don't have to go to the gym.
No, I can just sit here so that is a myth though, because we know where divorce rates are, separation rates are. We know that you can get a divorce, so you can get out. She can get out. We have to put that to the side. But the key is to think about, when I was like, interrogate the fears, is, well, what's the upside? What's the upside of having a partner for life? What would you say? Upsides?
I mean, I could also name the upsides, I think. So there's a certain sense of stability and focus that comes when you know that home is kind of locked down. So as an entrepreneur in particular, I advise anybody that's going to pursue a big, grueling, tumultuous, uncertain challenge like building a business to have a partner at home. And I know Sir Alex Ferguson was big on this when he was selecting players for Manchester United. He would often inquire about whether they were in a relationship, because if they had a stable home life, then they would be much more focused on the training ground. And I see that with myself. You need a stable base. If you're single, I think as an entrepreneur, it can become an immense distraction. An immense distraction, because on one hand, you're trying to build something over here and you're trying to build something over here. I think marriage is useful as well, because when you know that it's hard to get out of, it means that exiting isn't the path of least resistance, which means that you probably will go to therapy first, and you probably will see if you can fix it and figure it out versus just throwing it away.
Yes.
So it becomes less disposable,
Yes.
which means that you're more likely to fight to fix the thing. And what are the other upsides? I mean, the stats, right? So the stats around health and wealth all suggest that if you're in a good, productive, healthy relationship, you're going to earn more money. I think it's 4% more a year in a productive marriage. Both partners net earn 4% more a year. And according to Robert Waldinger, who came on the show, you're going to live longer. So I get it.
Yeah, and you're going to be healthier.
You're going to be healthier, yeah.
Yeah.
Less disease.
Come on, Stephen.
I know.
Do you know what? Come on.
Do you know what it is? I'm not trying to throw the marriage out. I'm wondering if there's an alternative. Do you know what it is? Part of me as well, if you look at the way I've lived my life, I've always tried to test the system. So
Yes.
school, like not going to school, dropping out of university, being an entrepreneur. There's always been a bit of a fuck you in me to the system, and a real pause in questioning what I'm being handed as the right answer to interrogate whether it's still valid now.
Okay.
So like many of the answers I was given, you go to university, then you go get a job, and then you hand out your CV. All of these things proved in my life to just be BS. There was a better way. So when I'm approached with a conventional system like marriage, immediately I go, let's interrogate this thing.
Yeah. And I would say, I'm with you. Throw the system out. Think about just one thing. And you said this, and there's research behind this. It's the investment model, right, theory. So the more you invest in the preparation of your partnership, in the actual partnership, the more that you're investing time, all resources, the higher satisfaction you have. That's fact, right? That's research. That's in essence what you're saying, right? So that's the way that I would approach it, is how can I invest as much as I can in this partnership with this person that I love?
What is it that predicts a successful marriage, in your view?
Well, once again, what is success? Is it, to me, success is high satisfaction. High satisfaction has a strong correlation around well-being. Dr. Carol Riff, I think, is the OG of well-being. She doesn't get enough credit. She created a model called the 6 dimensions of psychological well-being. And in essence, if we are working to increase each one of these dimensions. So for example, one is having a vision of your life. Like, what is that vision that you have for life? And the question though is, do you feel like you are actively in pursuit of that vision? If you don't feel like you know what your vision is, or you're not in pursuit of it, you're going to have lower well-being, right? So the higher well-being that you have individually, the higher satisfaction you have in your relationship, the more successful your relationship is.
Are there like fundamental qualities that I should be looking for in a good partner?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a million, but the core, the core that I like to write about is, I'll even synthesize it. You want to have a partner who is aware of their well-being and who is focused on their well-being. This is incredibly important, because one of the most profound bits of research that I feel like I included in the book is that most of us believe that having alignment in the values of our partner is the most successful, or is the number one determinant of having a successful partnership. We think it's about values. We're told it's about values. We're fed values, which, by the way, goes back to, you know where that goes back to? Religion. You know how? Have you heard of you need to be equally yoked?
No.
Oh, you haven't heard this?
No.
You're not reading your Bibles, David.
No,
Come on now.
Don't expose me.
All right. So the Bible talks about you have to have a partner. You have to find a partner who's equally yoked. What does that really mean? Equally yoked comes from oxen, right? So you have one ox here, one ox here. They're tethered together. They're plowing the land. If they're walking lockstep, they can plow the land. If you have one going off this way, one going off this way, you can't plow the land. You can't produce. So the Bible says you need to have a partner who is equally yoked. Pastors then interpreted that over the years to be what? Values. You need to have a partner who shares your values, has the same religion, has the same accent. This is how we became regimented in class. This happened century after century after century, right? We get to today, you ask anyone on the street, we grab 10 people, 9 out of 10 would say, and we said, how important are values? 9 out of 10 would say, values is everything. What? Values change. They change. I value things much differently today than I did 10 years ago. Our values change. They're not constant. We need to throw away values. Are they important? Yes. Are they the most important? No. So therefore, let's de-emphasize the focusing on finding someone who matches all of our values. Instead, well-being, key. Are they focused on their well-being? That's one. Two, yeah, values is important, but you know what's equally, if not more, is, you know what? How open-minded are they? Like how much do they lean in? How curious are they? And then the third is, how resilient are they? Because having a relationship with anyone means tough times. So are they able to bounce back? Or when things get tough, do they just lay on their back? So if you have a partner who's resilient, you have a partner who's open-minded, you have a partner who's focused and nurturing their well-being, you have a great partner.
What about ambition? Does that matter?
I think ambition is a value set.
Okay. Yeah, I just wondering, because a lot of people would say that they want that in a partner, but just by, running the mental numbers, not everybody can be ambitious. And people that aren't necessarily hugely ambitious also find love and keep love. Mm-hmm. But when you ask someone what they're looking for, they'll tend to have a preference towards someone who's ambitious or goal-orientated. One of the things we talked about kind of in between the lines was how society has changed. And one of the ongoing conversations in dating at the moment is around how women are struggling to find compatible men. Mm-hmm. Because women are more educated. I think there's more women graduating with college degrees now. The top 10% of men seem to be having all of the sex, according to some studies that I read, a lot of the sex. And then there's this bottom 50% of men that are somewhat disenfranchised because they're not getting the attention. They're probably turning to things like pornography. Women are dating up and to the right, I'm told. So women, I did read a study that said the majority of women are still looking for a man who's earning more than them. But in a world of equality, which we all agree is a good thing, where women are more educated now, there isn't enough men up and to the right anymore. Right. So there's this sort of disparity between, what women are looking for, but actually what's available in the market potentially. Mm-hmm.
These are all facts. However, we have to interrogate this data, but more so, I think we have to interrogate the narrative that's being handed to us. So I feel like the narrative that's being handed us today is that, you know what, the top 20% of men or 10% of men, they're good, but the bottom 80%, you suck. That couldn't be further from the truth. And I think we have to acknowledge, and this is where, two things could be true. One, we live in a patriarchal society, absolutely, absolutely. But do we need to extend more grace to our men? Absolutely, we do. Are men lonelier than they ever have been? Absolutely. Are men confused? Absolutely, right? Are men being misled? Absolutely. Let's extend more grace to our men. What does that mean? That means being aware that we do live in a loneliness epidemic, being aware that less than 27% of men have a friend that they can feel is a confidant, that 0% of them now feel like they have someone who they can go to at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's being aware of these things. It is saying, you know what? I can appreciate other traits and characteristics outside of how much you earn or how tall you are, right? It's important to be able to understand. And you just asked me, you said, what are the most, I said nothing about how much money someone makes, nothing about how tall they are, right? But at the same time, what we have to understand is the narrative that is handed to about women is that all women are looking for the 6-foot+ CEO, right, who's making over 100,000 pounds or dollars a year. And that is also not the case.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.